Hey guys, how's it going? This is Richard with Beck Tools, and some of you may know that have been with the channel for a while that I've been working on a DIY CNC lathe project for about a year. So this is my cross slide. It's going to be so far the biggest piece of steel I've ever put in the MR1. Now, I can't mill it all in one program because I'm limited in travel. So I'm going to mill the first 18 inches and then I'm going to move it. I got a brand new end mill that I've never run before. This is from Haas Tooling. It's a 1/4 inch, 30 thou radius, 6 flute. This is a roughing tool, so it should, reduce the chip size. This is the part number on the back. I'm not sponsored by Haas. Now, I've never run this tool, and so I looked up the feeds and speeds on Haas's website. So the thing is, I can't do those things with the MR1. So the only way I can achieve that is if I turn down the RPMs to 5,500 and do a feed rate of 100 inches a minute. Now it's telling me I can do 3 times diameter, which I'm not even gonna go 1 times diameter. Hopefully I have enough contact to not get vibration. That's another thing I don't know. And then it's suggesting 5% step over. So that comes out to 12 thousandths step over. Now I'm gonna go both ways. This is a 2-hour program, so this is not gonna be a real time. What I'm gonna do right before I start the program here, I am going to, actually is what I'll do, I'll start the program so you can get a tiny bit of real time, then I'll pause the program, and then switch it to time lapse, and then we'll time lapse the rest of it. Because even if you guys switch it to 1.5 times speed, 2 hours is way too long. And I don't even know if my feeds and speeds are gonna, this may be a flop. I may never upload this video. I may snap this thing off right at the go. So anyways, let's go ahead and get running. I'm starting by facing. This is only 10 thou deep, so I'm taking a pretty heavy step. All right, that looks pretty good. Now this is taking 60 thou step over. I'll let it finish. tonight, only thing I have left to do is drill all the holes here that are going to be tapped. This is the linear rails go in these slots. Tomorrow I will continue working on it. Alright guys, just want to take a moment, stop the time lapse for a little bit, and show you where we are at this point. So far, I mean, the surface finish is really great. I've got all the counterbores. This basically is completely finished. Now what I have to do is I have to scoot it down and do this. Alright, so I'm going to give you a quick breakdown of how I program this and how I set it up. So I started by breaking my solid into a couple different bodies, and the reason I did that was so I could select faces like this. Now, probably wondering why I have 3 bodies. Well, that was a mistake. Originally, my plan was to machine this much of it, move it down, and finish the rest. After I machined this first pocket here, I realized I had more space on the machine, so I came back and modified the program, but I needed to know where this pocket ended, so I had to keep my plane here so I could start and machine this. Then these other pockets and the rest of it I machined all together. So I started out, I machined that, and I had all of these already done when I decided to go ahead and do all of it. So I had a little bit of an afterthought. This is when I was like, why don't I just do this? It's already clamped. So I, added this to the program to use up all of my space. And then the key here is I'm gonna have to move this at some point, so I put this precision hole right here. Because currently you'll see this is my Z right here, or this is my XYZ starting point, my 0. But after I move it, I won't be able to reach this. It'll be outside of the travel of my machine. So I need to make sure I pick something up that was machined on the previous operation. That's really easy. Now, bores are super accurate because no matter what you have your spring back set on the probe, it's gonna still give you a perfect center, because if your spring back is off, that's fine because it touches this side of the hole and this side of the hole, the back and the front. So it's always gonna spring back. Even if it's wrong, it'll spring back incorrectly the same amount on all 4 touch-offs, which gives you the center no matter what. So anytime I'm picking up a previously machined face for an additional operation or a move, I try to pick up a bore because it's going to be the most accurate. So also, it's important that your Z be relative to what you've already machined, not your unmachined area. So down here on the second setup, you'll see that this is my XYZ. The Z is this top face. And the stock, you can see I still have a little bit of finished stock on here that will get taken off, but everything is going to be based on this. That way, this new surface and this previously machined surface will be the same. Now, I didn't have near as much work to do in this second half, so basically I'm going to rough that, finish that, and then I'm going to drill these holes. So anyways, that's the programming side, how I set this up. Because you have to, the MR1 does not have enough travel to do the whole thing in one shot. And it's very important that the second part after you move it is perfectly aligned with the first part. So this is the programming side to make sure that happens. Now we'll go over to the machine and I'll show you how the process that I used to move the part so I can accurately machine the second part. So I set this up using an indicator like this. It's magnetic. You clamp it on there and you can loosen these knobs and you put this little dial right on this face right here. So the reason I do that, I put it here and then I set it to 0 and I sweep all the way across. And if it's not dead nuts on, I will loosen this vise and I will pry this up and go back and forth until it's perfect this way. And then I'll come and I'll set 0 here. I'll move back and I'll check 0 here. And if it's not the same, well then once again, I will, you know, adjust it and tighten it up until I'm all done. Now, one thing, when you machine a bunch of material off of a plate, this type of plate can warp, okay? And it did a little bit. I have a 1/1000 bow in the center. Yeah, that kind of sucks, but here's the thing. This is a lathe cross slide, and I'm never going to be, if I'm machining an OD, I'm going to have just a little bit of travel, right? The diameter is not going to be very big. The reason this cross slide is so large is because I want to have gang tooling, and different tools are going to come to different spots. So basically, when a tool is being used, it's going to move to about the same spot in the cross slide. It's just going to be a different tool in that spot. So that's not going to be a big deal. If this were a CNC bed, it would be a bigger deal. And in that case, I would probably try to I would bolt a plate onto the top of it and then machine it after the machine's fully built. But this is a lathe, so it's not going to be a big deal. Anyways, let's go ahead and get back to the time lapse where we finish off this plate. All right, there it is, guys. It's all done. Multiple ops. And it turned out really nice. I mean, get some close-ups here. So you can't even feel, your fingernail doesn't even catch any of these. It's just smooth as a baby's bottom. So yeah, MR1 DIY CNC used to make a DIY CNC lathe. So this is a cross slide. I know this project has taken forever. I'm doing my best to get it done eventually, but it's just how life goes. I'm trying to grow a small business, Beck Tools, which if you don't know about Beck Tools, go to becktools.com, check out what we do. And then I also have some small kids, so I'm trying to balance everything. So this lathe, DIY lathe project is really kind of when I have time, right? When I get everything else caught up, and I quick try to squeeze it in. My goal is to finish it by the end of this year, 2025. Big set of fingers crossed there. We'll see. So, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of the DIY CNC lathe project. It will be sprinkled in here and there as time goes on. I'm already way too deep in to not finish this project. I'm about $5,000 in, so at this point, not finishing is not an option because it's not like I can sell all those components. So I have to finish at some point. So thanks for sticking with me, guys. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I always read the comments, and I love the feedback that you guys provide.